Welcome, one and all, to Pacific414 Pop Talk. I am your host, Mike, and tonight I'm going to be talking about DC. A lot of DC in this one, and that DC is not Washington, DC, it's DC Comics, also known as Detective Comics. And I'm going to be talking about DC changing Superman's motto from truth, justice, and the American way to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. I'm also going to be talking about the Batman trailer, which I have seen. I might show part of it. I might not show part of it. I don't know. I've also watched the Flash trailer, and I might again show part of that. And then I will also be talking about Ruby Rose coming out today and basically blasting Batwoman. So let's go ahead and get underway here, shall we? There we are. So, first order of business in this evening's episode is to be talking about Superman's motto being changed from truth, justice, and the American way to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. This article is coming out of Bounding into Comics, and it came out a couple of days ago. And this is by Spencer Bacall, and it starts off by saying, and one of the most audacious yet unsurprising moves from DC Comics in recent years, the comic book publisher has announced that they will officially be dropping the American way from Superman's iconic catchphrase in favor of a more inclusive alternative. As announced by DC Chief Creative Officer and Publisher Jim Lee during the October 2021 edition of DC Fandom, the Man of Steel's iconic catchphrase will be updated from Truth, Justice, and the American Way to Truth, Justice, and a Better Tomorrow in order to better reflect the global storylines that we are rolling across DC and to honor the characters' incredible legacy over 80 years of building a better world. Superman has long been a symbol of hope who inspires people from around the world, said Lee. And it is that optimism and hope that powers him forward with this new mission statement. The iconic Truth, Justice, and the American Way line dates all the way back to the Superman radio dramas, where an iteration of the phrase is uttered in conclusion to the series opening as the narrator announces Superman, who can leap tall buildings in a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend still. Hate it when it jumps on me. Bend still in his bare hands, and who's disguised as Clark Kent, mild mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper. Flights I've never seen. Fights I never ending. I can't even speak tonight. Fights never ending battle for truth and justice. The American way line was eventually added to the slogan in 1914. The intro sequence to Max Fleischer's animated Superman series in an attempt to boost patriotism and spirits at home during World War II. And yes, I have seen the Max Fleischer animated series thanks to my late grandmother, and I thoroughly enjoyed that animated series very much. The first hints that DC would be moving to change Superman's classic motto was first seen in Superman, Son of Kal-El #1, wherein author Tom Taylor revealed that Clark's son, John, would choose to fight for truth, justice, and a better world after adopting his father's heroic mantle. However, it seems that in the slight variation in wording and the fact that it was used first for John rather than Clark, the updated motto's use in the issue was a testing of the waters, so to speak. Ironically, during an interview with Fox News given last year, former Superman actor Dean Cain told host Ainsley Earhart, "I promise you, as Superman, I wouldn't today be allowed to say truth, justice, in the American way." And he's right with the way people would react to that phrase nowadays, how people are reacting to any sort of patriotism nowadays. He's absolutely right. With those telling negative stories, having an agenda, they are they hate capitalism, they hate law and order, they hate America. Oh, go away, ad. Damn ads. Come on. Go away. I'm gonna wait for that to go away. There we go. All right, I'll just go ahead and read that line again. With those telling negative stories, having an agenda, they hate capitalism, they hate law and order, they hate America, the actor continued. Yeah, there are a lot of people that hate America right now. According to DC, the new model, which will be used in main continuity for Clark Kent's Superman, will be featured across all mediums, including comic books, film, TV, video games, and more. What do you think? What do you make of DC dropping the American way from Superman's model? Let us know in your thoughts on social media or in comments below. Here's my take. You know, change it for the rest of the world if you have to. But as far as selling it here in the States, leave it for truth, justice, and the American way. You don't like it? That's fine. There's plenty of things not to like, but there's plenty of things to like, and there's plenty of things that don't need to be changed. And this is, again, one of them that doesn't need to be changed. I mean, it's happening to well-established franchises in comics. It's happening in TVs. It's happening in movies where unnecessary changes have been made that don't need to be made. Again, like I said, if you want to change it for publishing the book in another country, fine, do it that way. But as far as the books being sold here in the United States, truth, justice, and the American way. So now, there is another article related to DC changing truth, justice, and the American way to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. And yeah, I'm hot about it. I don't think it needs to be changed. Doesn't need to be changed at all. There are a lot of things that do need to be changed, but this is one of them that doesn't need to be changed. All right. So, and this one is also by Spencer McCall, and it says Superman, son of Kal-El colorist Gabe Eltib, to exit DC Comics over Superman model change. I'm tired of them ruining these characters. All right, we've got somebody who's standing up who's also tired of things being changed when change is unnecessary. Why won't you people get it through your heads that we, the paying customers, do not want unnecessary changes? You're so thick headed, you can't even get it through your thick skulls. All right, it goes on to say after learning of DC Comics' recent decision to drop the American way from Superman's classic model, Superman, son of Kal El colorist Gabe Elteb, has announced that he will not seek to renew his contract with the publisher in protest of them ruining these characters. Appearing on an October hosted by Cyberfrog creator Ethan Van Sciver, and go subscribe to Ethan Van Sciver. He's great. Himself, a former contracted DC employee, LTAB revealed to the audience, I'm finishing out my contract with DC. I'm tired of this shit. He said he's tired of this shit. And as you saw in the disclaimer, this content may not be appropriate for those under 18. And saying the word shit, well, that pretty much proves it. So he says, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of them ruining these characters. They don't have the right to do this. At Comic-Con in 2009, I was pushing Jeremy Robinson's wheelchair around. The prominent DC colorist recalled. That's the man who invented the Joker. I would work the DC booth back then. I remember bending down to his face and telling him, thank you for creating these characters so people like me can waltz in and get a job. It's not about gay or anything else. Turning to the specific subject of Superman's model change, LTAB asserted that what really pissed me off was saying truth, justice, and a better world. F that. It was truth, justice, and the American way. My grandpa almost died in World War II. We don't have a right to destroy shit that people died for to give us. And he's right. He's absolutely right. As a grandson of two World War II vets who unfortunately passed away surgery very proudly during World War II, I can attest that we cannot throw away anything that the greatest generation did for this country. They are the ones that rebuilt this country. They are the ones that gave us what we are benefiting from now. Without them, who knows where we'd be. That's right. I'm ticked off tonight. All right. It says he added, they call us bigots and racists and shit. I would ask them, find me in the effing mainstream, not on the fringes. Over one effing book, one effing t shirt, one movie that says that leftism is bad and conservatism is good. Find it for me. They effing won't. They're not letting people have a voice. They're the effing bigots. Everybody has a voice in this country. You may not like what I say, you may not like what someone else says, but they still have the right in this country to say it. Goes on to say, speaking of LTAB's appearance on his channel, Van Skyver recalled, Gabe just exploded on my live stream. He had a lot to say, a lot of feelings, and a lot of thoughts that he wasn't able to share because he was working for DC Comics. And that's reality, he continued. You cannot come out and be conservative and criticize the company that you work for in this way. You have to be completely supportive of the corporate agenda, whatever it is. You have to keep your negative or critical opinions to yourself. And it's so liberating to be able to not work for DC Comics and to be able to say exactly what you think, he concluded. And I think that's what Gabe is going through here. Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you make of LTAB's intent to leave DC? Let us know in the comments. Fine, he should leave in protest. He should do exactly what Ethan Van Sciver is doing, create his own comic book series, his own merchandise, and run with it. Because guess what? Like it or not, people will buy it. People will buy it because if it's good story with good characters, people will want to buy those comic books. People will want to do it because that is what this country is about. Being able to make your own decisions, make your own life. Somebody doesn't like the decision you make, well, too bad. It's your life, your decision. Do you have to appease everybody? No, you don't. No, you don't. Absolutely not. You do not have to appease everybody just for the sake of appeasing everybody. No, no, you don't. You don't have to do it. If you believe what you say, stick to your guns and say it. Don't kowtow to anyone. Say what you mean and back it up. So I'm going to bring up another article here. And this was just released today, coming out of Forbes. So let me just pull it up on screen here. There we go. See if anyone's here. All right, guys. Sorry I missed your comments. All right, Whoopa Troopa. If you're here, let's see. Godzillionaire says, "Call me Superman." Exactly. Spock, hell, good to see you, brother. Let's see. Yes, good to see you, Godzillionaire. Jake D. I miss the 90s. So do I, brother. So do I. This is bullshit. I'm just coming out and saying it. This is absolute bullshit what they're doing to comics, movies, TV. It's absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit, my friends. Thank you, Jake D. I will keep it up. But yes, my friends, this is absolute bullshit. Absolute bullshit because, I've been watching Band of Brothers again. I've watched it plenty of times before, but watching Band of Brothers and, seeing the interviews that were conducted with the actual men who were there during World War II before the episode begins and listening to their words, going onto other YouTube channels that have interviews with World War II vets before they passed away and listening to each and every word. We can't throw that away. We can't throw that away. I was lucky enough to know my grandfather on my father's side. Unfortunately, my grandfather on my mother's side passed away almost a year after I was born. But what I've learned of him, what I've learned of my grandfather that I wasn't able to learn from him directly after his passing on my dad's side was these men risked their lives, and they risked their lives not alone but with others, both in the Air Force and in the Navy. And I appreciate everything they've done. I appreciate everything every veteran of this country has done, whether it was World War II or even in Afghanistan. I appreciate each and every one of you. And what's happening here is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. That's right. I'm fired up. I'm tired of people trying to destroy what is great about this country. I'm tired of people trying to say this country isn't great. This country isn't great. We all get to live here in a free country. We all get to go onto YouTube and have our voice heard. This is a great country. And don't throw it away just because you think some other agenda is going to work, because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's been tried over and over again, and it's failed. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. If you listen to any of his interviews, he was a national treasure. But here's another thing about him. If it wasn't for him, the 101st, they wouldn't have made it out of there alive. And he was a professional. He was the leader they needed. And he was a great man because he got his brothers through. Yes, they lost men every country lost men in World War II. Every country has lost men and women in every single war that's been fought on this earth. But what those men did in World War II, what the women did in World War II to keep this country going, there is nobody alive today who would be able to do that. Why? Because we're too spoiled. We have to have our social media. We have to make sure we get on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. We're too soft. That's right. I said it. We're too soft. I'm owning it too. I'm just checking a couple of things here before I go on with this article. But if you don't like this country, there's an old saying, love it or leave it. Because I am tired of all this bullshit that's going on. Because that's what it is. It's bullshit. All right. So going on to this article out of Forbes, it says Ruby Rose unloads the real reasons she left Batwoman or Batwoman. Nukes executives showrunner. Well, yeah, I only made it through the first 20 minutes of the show. The show freaking sucks. And this article is by Paul Tassi. Goes on to say Ruby Rose's exit from Batwoman after a single season as its lead, when the show had already been renewed, always seemed extremely weird. At the time, it was painted as her decision, and she and those working on the show exchanged mutual pleasantries about her departure. Something about how she didn't like long night filming hours was the closest we got to an actual explanation of what happened. Now we have a lot more answers. Well, of course, you don't really think they're going to come out and say the reasons why she left and not try to sugarcoat it, do you? Of course, they're going to try to sugarcoat it. They're going to try to make sure that everything's fine within house when it's not. Hell to you, games, movies, and Castlevania. Hell to all of you who are here right now. And I hope you're as fired up as I am about this shit that's going on, because tonight there's a reason that warning's up before any of my videos, and you're getting it. There's a reason I put that warning in the about section, and you're getting it. Because I am. I'm says Rose was forced back to work incredibly quickly after serious injuries, with the implication being that the entire crew would lose her job if she didn't. Rose says that the showrunner, Caroline Dries, only visited the set 4 times a year and was rushing to finish the season during COVID when everyone else was shutting down. Rose details numerous stunt person injuries on set, including a burn injury so graphic that they witnessed in real time that she laments the network for not offering anyone therapy for it. Rose accuses former WBTV exec Peter Roth of inappropriate behavior, like having women steam his pants while he was still wearing them, and then having Rose investigated by a PI after she left the series. Well, of course, they're a bunch of creeps in Hollywood. We all know that by now. All this sounds horrifying and explains a lot, as Rose leaving Batwoman was one of the strangest TV occurrences that year, and the information we had at the time didn't make sense. Rose was painted, albeit indirectly, as being the difficulty in the situation, but hearing all this, if these allegations are true, it's no wonder she didn't stick around. Demon Slayer Season 2 finally has an actual 2021 release date. Netflix's Squid Game Season 2, not a sure thing, says director Genshin Impact still refuses. Yeah, that's right. I'm just reading these links because I don't know. Sometimes I might see a link that I go, I'm going to read that story. All right. So it says Rose was replaced by Jessica Leslie, whom Rose has had nothing but kind words for, even though Rose's character of Kate Kane was brought back to the series briefly. She was recast and played by Wallace Day. Now we clearly know why Rose didn't come back for that. At one point in her Instagram story, she says she wouldn't return to Batwoman with a gun to her head. Well, that should have been a pretty obvious clue that things weren't right in Batwoman world. All right. So let's see. It says, granted, this is Rhodes' side of things, but obviously, all these are serious, sorry, allegations that should absolutely be investigated. Frankly, there has been a good amount of weirdness across a few CW shows with casting and departures. Felicity not appearing in the entire last season of Arrow except the finale, Cisco leaving The Flash, Brandon Routh and his wife, Courtney Ford, being booted off Legends of Tomorrow against their wishes. It's unclear if these situations were normal and which may have larger stories behind them. It seemed pretty clear Rose's departure had more to it than the start. We'll see how the CW responds to this, and if Rose has anything else to say, here is the WB statement about Rose's claims. Despite the revisionist history that Ruby Rose is now sharing, so then which party is lying, huh? Yeah, it's crazy. You're absolutely right, Spock. You are absolutely right, Spock. I mean, it's just going to be one of those things where it's going to be a battle of he said, she said, they said, we said, and nobody's ever going to come out and tell us the truth. We're never going to get the full, honest truth. Why? Because it's Hollywood. And much like politics, you never get the truth. Okay, anyways, it says despite the revisionist history that Ruby Rose is now sharing online, aimed at producers, the cast and crew, the network, and the studio. The truth is that Warner Bros. Television had decided not to exercise its option to engage Ruby for season 2 of Batwoman based on multiple complaints about workplace behavior that were extensively reviewed and handled privately out of respect for all concerned. Yeah, of course, they want to keep it hush hush. Of course, they want to keep it hush hush. All right, Jake D. I'm with you right there, brother. Yes, we need closure. We need closure to any series that was good that never got a proper ending, that got cut off midstream for whatever stupid reason they came up with. We definitely need to bring back any canceled series. So bring back SWAT Cats, bring back Enterprise, because we need good Star Trek again. We definitely need good Star Trek again. Let's see. Godzillionaire. I love this community. I love it. All right. So, it's a bunch of he said, she said, they said, we said. We're never going to get the truth about this, but with it being Hollywood, that there are a lot of shenanigans that happen, a lot of things that shouldn't happen, that wouldn't happen at real jobs, but in Hollywood, they're perfectly exactly, Spock. We are in dire need of good Star Trek. And like I said, bring back Enterprise. Let's have a season 5, season 6, season 7. Let the show have a 7-season run, just like Next Gen, DS9, Voyager. Come on. It needs it. It was a good show. And I'm not talking about, you know, let's have an animated special. No. Get those sets out of wherever they are, out of mothball, put them all back together, the bridge set, everything, you know, get John Billingsley, get, Scott Bakula, Jolene Blaylock, get everybody back, and let's get Enterprise restarted. But pick back up where they left off. Forget about These Are the Voyages. That episode's a holodeck program anyway. And let's continue on. Yeah, he may not want to come back. I mean, he was doing pretty good with NCIS New Orleans, and so you couldn't blame him there. But still, if we could get Captain Archer back, that would be awesome. Indeed, God's hanging there. Indeed. Indeed, we do. Let's see. Jake D. Atsbach, does Shatner going to space count as an episode? It should. It absolutely should. Spock says it should. Then he goes on to say, first 15-minute episode. Why not? Why not? I'd watch it. I'd watch it over and over again. I know I could watch the launch again. And, that was awesome. I know I've already talked about that on Saturday's Pop Talk, but that was awesome with William Shatner going up to space. Now, as far as George Takai being bitter about it, well, George, buck up, grow up. Exactly, Godzillionaire. Shatner in space. Still better than Discovery. Gosh, you guys are great. You guys are awesome. Thanks for stopping by. So, what do you guys think? Is Ruby Rose at fault? Is the studio at fault? Are both parties at fault? I'm thinking both parties are at fault, and neither side's ever going to admit it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it because that's my opinion. And everybody's opinion matters. Yeah, I tell you guys, it's just ridiculous with everything that's going on and entertainment nowadays. We can't get good entertainment. Everybody wants to change something. I mean, Indiana Jones 5. Indiana Jones 5 storyline is going to involve time travel. And speaking of Indiana Jones, that's been pushed back to 2023. But time travel, I don't go to watch Indiana Jones to see a time travel story. I watch Indiana Jones to see him go on some sort of adventure looking for a lost relic. Let's see what Spock has to say here. My 2-year-old cousin's drawing is better than Discovery. All of our drawings are better than Discovery. All of our writing is better than Discovery. Heck, it's better than a lot of the stuff we're getting now. So, let's see. The next article of business here that I want to talk about is the fact that Disney is pushing back their releases. So let's get to it. And you know what, gentlemen, since you're here, if anybody would like to come on, I will go ahead and post the link in the Discord. So I know all of you are following me in Discord. So here is the link. And if you would like to come on, well, there you go. You've got the link. You're all welcome. Now, I know, Spock, you're going to be on Wednesday Night Trek tonight. So I understand if you can't make it because you don't want to be late for that. And I don't blame you. Don't blame me. I like tonight. It's Wednesday Night Trek for certain reasons. And okay, now let's get back to what I wanted to talk about, and that was the fact that Disney is pushing back their movies. Pushing back they are. Okay, so and there's also another article I wanted to cover too, but first let's copy that link. Be right with you, Mister. So that, and now let's move that over here. Let's welcome in my guest at this time. Greetings, Mr. Spock.
Greetings. Now I could definitely talk tonight. Paul hasn't sent the link yet for his StreamYard, so we're still good.
All right. So, what's your opinion on some of the stories I've read so far?
Well, for the Superman catchphrase change, completely unnecessary. I mean, like you said, it's the people who created that comic and that character to begin with who have a right to, keep it the way it is. I mean, they're blaming other people for censoring, or no, they're blaming comics for, censoring this or censoring that, or there was something in that story that could have been brought out, but really they're the ones who are censoring by completely changing and going back and completely messing with catchphrases that doesn't need to be changed. I mean, I've always remembered when Superman said truth, justice, and the American way. I mean, there was a reason behind that because of World War II, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a valid reason. And it's just like, what we're seeing with Discovery, how they've changed things that we've known in Star Trek for years. And, they've had things occur that have never occurred on any other Star Trek series. I mean, that season 2 finale of Discovery, where you had all these shuttlecraft coming out of the Enterprise and the Discovery. It's like, okay, where are you storing all these shuttlecraft?
Yeah,
Because
for the Discovery stuff, you know how I feel on the Discovery show, but just to quickly put it out for people who might not know, I just don't think that show needed to be created in the first place.
Absolutely not.
Nobody asked for it. I mean, nobody really cared to see what happened 10 years before Kirk, because our story with that was Archer's crew. That was the only prequel we were all invested in, was the Enterprise show. But then they just cut it off at season 4. So like you said, if they are able to bring back Scott Bakula and the rest of the cast, it would be great to see that show continue for 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see, Linda Park come back as Hoshi, and, all those characters. And yeah, let's have them actually make it where Strand's a member of the crew in season 5, because Jeffrey Combs is.
Yeah, I mean, Jeffrey Combs, for me, carried a lot of that show. I mean, we have a lot of, great moments with Linda and Jolene as to Paul, but for me, the Jeffrey Combs moments with Shran just made it so much more sweeter. That's just how it is for me.
Yeah, because we'd seen him on Deep Space Nine and Voyager, what he can do. So having an actor that's that versatile and can really get into a character and make each and every character he does different from the other, that was a great asset for them to have.
Yeah, and it's not the same with, seeing Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis on Picard, because my argument is having like an actor like Jeffrey Combs on a show like Star Trek Enterprise, a show that not too many people were expecting to be great. But when you see an actor like Jeffrey Combs on there, then okay, he's a real Star Trek fan. This guy enjoys Star Trek. He's invested into this for a good reason, and the story must be good. But I can't really say the same for Picard. I mean, they were just there, those two actors, three actors, apologies, Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes. All of those characters are there just to appease the fans. They weren't there because, I really love the story of Picard. No, they were just, it was a money shot, pretty much.
Yeah, it was a way to try to get viewership.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly, yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about the next order of business. Let me just
bring it up.
Here we go. Sharing my tab. And here we go. So this is coming from Variety, and it was published a couple days ago. And it says that Disney delays Doctor Strange 2, Thor 4, Black Panther sequel, and Indiana Jones 5. Well, as somebody in the comment section duly noted, and I wholeheartedly agree, Disney is cutting their losses. So this article goes on to say that Marvel fans prepare to wait a little bit longer to see Doctor Strange, Thor, and Black Panther return to theaters. Disney has delayed release plans for several upcoming films, including Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness from March 25th to May 6th, Thor Love and Thunder from May 6th to July 8th, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever from July 8th to November 11th. Veterans Day. So Veterans Day next year, we'll be seeing Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Okay.
With the Black Panther sequel jumping to November, the Marvels has been postponed to early 2023. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I have no any intention on going to see the Marvels. Anything to do with Captain Marvel? Nope.
Yeah, you can count me out as well.
I mean, I'll admit, I went and saw Captain Marvel, and after I came out of it, my friend and I were questioning everything about it. We're going, okay, so they had the Tesseract back then, but how could they have the Tesseract when the Tesseract wasn't even on Earth at the time?
Yeah, they shouldn't have done.
Nah.
Godzillionaire. Love and Thunder sounds like some Vegas stage show. Yep.
Well,
I don't know what to expect from that. What do you think, Pacific?
What do I think to expect from Captain Marvel?
The Love and Thunder, Thor, but yeah, that new Marvel as well.
I'll tell you what I expect from both movies. A lot of pandering to current day politics, and not a good story. Hemsworth is just going to be there as Thor to collect a paycheck, and we all know that Natalie Portman's going to be the main showcase in the movie.
That's the one part I'm just like not looking forward to. It's just I'm not very caught up in the Thor comics, and that might have happened, I'm sure, Lady Thunder or something, but they could have picked somebody else, because she, like in the previous movies, she's just a human, nothing really special about her other than her being Thor's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend for that matter.
I've heard from various people that there was a storyline in the Thor comics where Jane contracts contacts cancer. I shouldn't say contacts cancer, and she gets the mantle of Thor and becomes Lady Thor and all that. But I don't know. I consider that hearsay. I don't know if it's true, and I'm not saying
Yeah, I
because I
want
haven't
to
read.
check that out.
Yeah, I'm not saying because I haven't read the comics. No, I want to check for sources. And let's see. Godzillionaire says Circus D Thorley. Yeah. Actually, I did go to a Circus Soleil show at the Mirage several years ago, and it was with their Beatles love show, and it was actually. And of course, Jake D is saying money.
Great show, by the way. I remember watching the Love Show at Circus Soleil.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I thought about it a few other times when I went to Vegas, and then I chose one trip and said, I'm going to go see it. And Godzilla says, that was good. Well done.
I know it was Circus de Thorley.
Love it.
Circus de Thor. I love it. Yeah, they should change their name to that. Screw Love and Thunder. It's Thor's Circa de Thorley. That's how it is.
And let's see.
Yeah, what else is
What else does it say? Well, it's
go ahead and read.
Along with the deluge of Marvel delays, Disney has moved the fifth Indiana Jones installment back nearly a year. Well, nobody asked for it, especially after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Picard said in Chain of Command Part 2, there are only 4 lights. Well, there are only 3 Indiana Jones movies. 3.
No, it was, there are 4 lights! 4 lights! Dude, that's such a funny scene.
For a moment, I was going to say there were 5 lights. I remember.
Yeah, that's the really powerful part about that whole scene. The true torture of Cardassians and what they can inflict. It's crazy.
Yeah. Cardassians are brutal. Okay, so it's saying that Indiana Jones is being delayed to June 30th, 2023. Well, I mean, Harrison Ford, he's 80 years old. He's been injured on the set, and they're going to have to be, doing all sorts of different special effects just to even get the movie done. And, you have Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who's been heavily rumored to be taking over the mantle of Indiana Jones. And I'm sorry. Harrison Ford was casted to be Indiana Jones to the hesitance of George Lucas, but he was casted as Indiana Jones, and from the moment we saw him on screen as Indy to the last moment, even in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, he is Indiana Jones. There is no other Indiana Jones. We already have a female Indiana Jones. They've made 3 movies. It's called Laura Croft.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm probably not really looking forward to that. I mean, I want to run this by you. What would you think if instead of a movie for the last indie film, it was more of like a Jedi Fallen Order kind of game, where it's more interactive with the player, but the story is obviously going to be all CGI, but in this instance, it would work better instead of, seeing Harrison Ford and a whole fake background that's obviously fake CGI. I feel like this would probably sit better with fans who want to see an end to the series rather than it being safe to say we're probably going to see him die in this last movie because he wants to kill off his character. I mean, let's be honest. But if they're going to do that, let's see that done in a more beautiful way, something that's more respected with the fans. And I think a video game that's a really interactive one, that's not too complex, just something that somebody can turn on, play, and immerse themselves in the story.
Well, like the Ghostbusters 2009 game that came out, that was pretty much Ghostbusters 3 before we ended up getting
Yeah,
Ghostbusters 2016, and then of course Afterlife is coming up. So Ghostbusters 2009 to me is the third movie because you have all, you know,
it's
Harold
easier
Ramis.
too. I mean, like, if
Yeah.
you can't get the people to get there on set and to act and do the things you want them to, getting a CGI character and having them voice it, and direct it the way you want would be better, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because it certainly was in the Ghostbusters 2009 game because you still had the actors there providing their voices, but it
Yeah.
still felt like you were in that particular universe
And
because you
that's
were.
why, like, I bring up like Jedi Fallen Order, and to go on to like quickly onto Star Wars, that's probably their best story game they've released in a while compared to, the Force Unleashed, which is the best story they've made for a video game. But it's been a while because we got the Battlefront remakes they made, and the stories in those games weren't that great. Not too many people liked it because most of it went towards the sequel trilogy. But with Jedi Fallen Order and Cal Kestis, it took place right after Episode 3, after Revenge of the Sith, so people were instantly already enjoying the setting. It was just a matter of the storytelling, and there were parts that could have been better, but I definitely think that's what they should do with a lot of movies or franchises they're trying to bring back, because let's face it, not everyone is like the same as I forget his name, but the guy who directed Tron. He knew what he wanted to do with 2010 Legacy, and that's why it was a great film. Not too many other directors are like that, unfortunately, so that's my best alternative to saving the franchise. It's just put them in a video game.
Yeah, and I have Jedi Fallen Order. I've completed the game, and it was a great journey. Went through with Cal, trying to evade being found by any inquisitors to actually
Yeah.
being discovered, and then having to go on.
It's obviously, still that Disney stuff going on, but I pretty much like it a lot more compared to what they've released recently, like Visions and Bad Batch. To me, this sat well as more of like a Star Wars story, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm being asked here. I like the Force Unleashed more than KOTOR. Well, since I've just gotten into KOTOR, I can't really compare the two yet. Once I complete the game, then I can give you an actual comparison. So far from
Yeah,
what
I'm
I
pretty
played of
much same
KOTOR,
with you there, Mike. I'm pretty much there with you as well. I haven't really played KOTOR fully to really understand the story.
yeah, but I mean, from what I've heard from people, it's a great game, and I'm seeing that in the beginning stages. But
Yeah.
again, I haven't completed it yet. So once I complete it, I'll let you guys know what I think. But I'll take your guys' word for it. And Godzillionaire says, my only issue with Jedi Fallen Order was that Cal Kestis is still the Gotham Joker to me. Okay.
Yeah, I understand that completely. I understand, because not a lot of people liked what they did with that show, especially what they did with the Joker and Harley Quinn. I completely agree with you. But the actor he's still, like, despite what he did in that, and even though I still liked his performance in that show, but I just didn't really think he was a Joker. But as Cal Kestis, I think he pulled it off pretty well.
Yep. I mean, there's certain actors that are good at being the bad guy, they're good at being good guys, and then some actors, they're always cast as the bad guy because that's what they're good at. And let's face it, some of
Exactly.
these actors like to play the bad guy. They don't want to play the good guy.
No, yeah, exactly. That's true. Because let's face it, are we ever gonna get more protagonists like Batman? For a long time, people who are going to remember someone like Batman. It's more or less the people you remember a lot from cinema these days are the villains. That's just the harsh truth.
Especially if it's a well-written villain. Okay, so...
Yeah, go ahead and continue with the article. Didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right. I'm just finding my place again. It says the major release date shuffle comes after Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings cemented its place as the pandemic era box office hit and ahead of Eternals. And I'm just going to say this about Eternals. I have absolutely zero interest in watching it. Absolutely zero. And it says the MCU entry that is scheduled for November 5th. It goes on to say the scheduling overhaul is related to production and not box office returns. You want to bet? According to sources at Disney, the next Black Panther entry, for one, is still filming in Atlanta since Marvel has become an interconnected and meticulously planned universe which spans dozens of film and several new television series. Any production delay causes a domino effect on the rest of the franchises. As for Indiana Jones, the 79-year-old Ford sustained a shoulder injury on set in June, requiring the actor to take a break from filming while he healed. Though director James Mangold continued to shoot without Ford, there are limited amount of scenes that don't involve the adventurer. Ford has since recovered and returned to set. 4 untitled 2023 movies from Marvel 20th Century and Disney's live action division have been removed from the calendar, while one untitled Marvel movie has relocated, from November 10th to November 3rd, 2023. So that's actually been pushed up a few days. COVID-19 has shaken up the way studios release their biggest movies, with many major tentpoles bucking tradition to land simultaneously in theaters and on digital platforms. After putting Black Widow, starring Scarlett Johansson, and if you guys haven't watched my review on Black Widow, basically, Black Widow's the last straw for me as far as Marvel movies are concerned. Marvel used to be about, good movies where the characters took what was happening in front of them seriously, and you would sprinkle in a joke here and there. Now all Marvel is let's insert a stupid corny joke here, a stupid corny joke there. Of course, that's just my opinion, and I like what Godzillionaire says here. Meticulously planned? Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's right though. I mean, what is with all these moves? Like, look at all these movies they've just pushed back on. What was the point of even announcing the release date to begin with if you're just gonna push them back? I mean, just don't give a release date unless you're completely sure, like, that's when it's gonna come out.
Mm-hmm. Or, some of these movies that they announce and they say, oh, they're going to come out in 2 years, and yet as the 2-year mark gets closer, they haven't even begun pre-production, let alone production on the movie.
Exactly. And like, look, the last movie for Indiana Jones pushed back the year. What was the point? I mean, like, 2022 was already a far out. They're pointing out it's going to come out next year in 2022. That's a pretty big estimate. I would hold off on an estimate until you're completely 100% sure. Okay, it's going to come out on the 6th of 30th, 2023. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're doing the same thing Cyberpunk did, like release a trailer 7 years ago, get everybody hyped up, and then it keeps getting pushed back constantly.
Or how about this? I don't know if you remember it, but Duke Nukem Forever, the game that took forever to be developed because it went from one studio to the next. And
yeah, I remember that.
That was a
mess. Ah, yeah, I love what you said. Duke Nukem forever. It actually took forever.
It worked in this case. I mean, here it was when I first heard about the game coming out. Of course, this is back on PS2 and everything. And, I'm thinking, oh, right, I can play a Duke Nukem game on the next generation console. He'll have balls of steel on the next generation. All right.
All
Who
right.
loves you, baby?
But that's what this article basically is. Look at all of the movies that got pushed back.
Yep. It's
Oh, but
crazy.
that's Superman news is still ringing through my head. I can't. It's just so unnecessary.
It is. And you know what? I don't care what anyone on Twitter says, all the people that read about anything. I mean, you could even say hello, good morning, and they'll read about that. It's like, why are you pandering to people that don't give a crap about these properties? It's like, seeing reviews for Ghostbusters Afterlife that are already out where people are complaining because it's catering to people who grew up on the original Ghostbusters movies. Well, yeah, that's your target audience. That's the audience who's going to spend the money to go see the movie. I'm one of
Exactly. Like, why would you want to appeal to a completely? It doesn't make sense. Like, if Spock was here, he would honestly say that that isn't logical. Why would you want to turn away from your audience? Just keep feeding the same audience that's been buying your merchandise, buying your DVDs, shouting out your work on social media. Just appease to those people. Like, why would you want to appease the people who don't even give a shit about Ghostbusters?
Yeah, and Godzilla Air brings up a good point. Superman is proven an illegal alien could make it big in America. Yes, it goes to show that people who have immigrated to this country, who have worked hard to earn a living, to earn a life here in America, there have been a lot of success stories. Heck, getting back to what I was saying, about rewatching Band of Brothers, you listen to, some of the interviews of the guys that were actually there, and the videos are available here on YouTube. And those guys were saying, I came from an immigrant family. We immigrated from Italy. We immigrated from, Poland, Germany, wherever. And we made a life here in the States. And our families were like, you go and you defend this country that has given us a lot. They were appreciative of everything. Super tramp, the logical song.
God, it's stuck.
Oh boy.
Well,
So
I'm unfortunately gonna have to head off. The Wednesday night trek is about to start right now with
all right,
Paul.
all
But
right.
this has been a blast. I can't wait to join the next one. But I'll catch you in their Discord. I'm just hanging out in there.
Okay.
All right, man. I'll
I
catch you.
appreciate you
Goodbye,
coming on,
chat.
and I'll definitely stop by Wednesday night truck if I finish before you guys do.
Sounds good. Good to see you there.
All right.
I'm sure you'll have the StreamYard out too, so definitely pop in.
All right, brother. Thanks.
I'll catch you, man. Live long and prosper, everybody.
Julon True Spock. All right, so it goes on to show us, when these movies have been pushed back to, and I'll just go ahead and highlight it. And then, of course, you have a bunch of untitled movies here. So, that's another thing. Well, why even, say we're having this movie come out and it's untitled? For a movie, wait until you have, the title, the story, that's going with that title, and then the cast that's going to be in said movie. And maybe give us a little teaser what might go on in the movie, but don't say, "Oh, untitled movie." Just give us an actual title when you have everything straightened out. Okay. There's another article I need to pull up here. Let's see. That wasn't it. Aha. While we're on the Disney front, go ahead and just bring it up here. Going back to an article from Bounding into Comics. It says Disney announces changes to Hawkeye release schedule. Okay. It goes on to say the Walt Disney Company, Marvel Studios, and Disney, their Hawkeye series will not have the same release timetable as their previous Marvel Studios Disney Plus series. Goes on to say, in conjunction with a new 60-second clip showing off the series, Disney announced they are taking a play out of Amazon Studios playbook and will release the first 2 episodes of Hawkeye on November 24th. Okay, well, it's not going to help the show. I don't think it is. Whatever happened to waiting for that next episode? It's like, I know you guys have probably seen it already, but I've done episode reviews for Chucky, episode 1 and 2. And it's that anticipation waiting for episode 3 that I'm looking forward to, because I know I didn't particularly care for the first episode. I only gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. But last night's episode I really enjoyed. Why? Because I'm not taking it seriously. I never took the Child's Play movies seriously. A killer doll that been possessed by a serial killer. I never took it seriously. I always laughed at them, and I enjoyed last night's episode. That's why I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Okay, it says, let's see. Amazon Studios typically releases the first 3 episodes of their series onto their platform before releasing subsequent episodes weekly. For example, they will be releasing the first 3 episodes of The Wheel of Time on November 19th, and then will release new episodes weekly after that. Disney will be mimicking this model, as first 2 episodes of Hawkeye will be released on November 24th, with new episodes releasing weekly on Wednesdays. Previous shows like The Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki released each episode weekly. However, WandaVision did release its first 2 episodes on the same day. Yeah, and I reviewed them. The official description for Hawkeye states Marvel Studios' Hawkeye is an original new series set in post-blip New York City, where former Avenger Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye Jeremy Renner, has a seemingly simple mission: get back to his family for Christmas. The description continues, but when a threat from his past shows up, Hawkeye reluctantly teams up with Kate Bishop, played by Haley Steinfeld, a 22-year-old skilled archer and his biggest fan, to unravel a criminal conspiracy. The series also stars Vera Farmiga and Frafi, Tony Dalton, Zahn McLaren, Brian D'Arcy, James, and newcomer Alaqua Cox as Maya Lopez. The series is helmed by Reese Thomas and directors Bert and Bertie. Do you plan on watching Hawkeye? No, because I won't have Disney Plus. So I have no intention on watching Hawkeye once it premieres. So I don't know. Do you guys have any intention on watching Hawkeye? If so, let me know in the comment section. All right, so as you all know, this past weekend we got movie trailers for the Batman and also the Flash. So I will bring up those trailers. I probably won't play the trailers. I'll probably just keep it on one still the whole time, but just give me a second to bring them up and I will be right back with you. Let's see. Let me just let me just check something as far as stream is concerned before I do that. Just gotta mute myself real quick because I don't want to hear myself. And you don't need to hear two of me. One of me is bad enough. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the Flash trailer. Like I said, I am not playing the Flash trailer. I am just gonna take a look at it. Let me go ahead. Let's go ahead and stop sharing that. This over. Rid of that. So we got our first trailer for The Flash. Again, just checking a few things real quick before I share it with you. Again, I will not be playing any audio or video. I will just be going through the trailer because I have already watched it. So we see that we're underwater. Now we see Barry Gordon getting out of the car with someone. I don't know who that is. We see him going into what looks to be Wayne Manor. He gets to the circuit breaker. Flips the switch. Lightning, electricity. Of course, we all know the Flash can move very fast. We see a glimpse of his suit. Now, I do like these bits right here where, you've got the glowing bits on the suit. You see him going up to a house, coming behind a woman. Holding the woman's hand. See a cow. Barry moving mighty quickly. He's looking up at somebody who's floating. So we're seeing that universe's Supergirl. We're seeing his boots. There he is standing in what could presumably be the Batcave. I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. So, yep, it's the Batcave. And in this actual trailer, they're playing a voiceover, and you hear Michael Keaton. And there we see Batman himself, Bruce Wayne, aka Michael Keaton. And there we see 2 Ezra Millers and the new Supergirl. And get a shot of the logo with lightning around it. Flash. And then we see the 89 Batmobile under a tarp. So, again, I'm not playing any audio for these trailers because I don't need Warner Brothers coming at me with a copyright claim or giving this channel a copyright strike. So, the next one, take a look at, let this commercial go through, is the Batman. Let me go ahead and pause it. So we're out in some grungy streets of Gotham. See some individuals. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it in case you don't know already. There's the Riddler. And he's at a restaurant, and there's some cops. They take him away. And what do we see in the coffee? We see a question mark in the froth. So Warner Brothers TC. We see the bat symbol. It's beaten, battered. It's being illuminated up in the sky, up against the clouds with the bat symbol. We see Robert Pattinson as Batman. Subway train. There's Batman again in the dark, in the cover of night. There he is fighting some goons. Fighting. Where is she? Where is she? Oh, sorry, it's not Christian Bale. Nah, but my favorite Batman's Michael Keaton. Let's go back. See a clown. A little foreshadowing, maybe. Yep. Batman's talking to the Riddler. Something that would make Michael Bay very proud. An explosion. Carponi. Andy Serkis as Alfred. Cemetery. There's Catwoman. Selena Kyle. There's Robert Pattinson's Batman getting ready to beat up somebody. There he is beating somebody up. There's Catwoman again. There she is again. There she is wondering what's under the mask. The same as Catwoman from Batman Returns. And she was disappointed that it was a rubber suit. Explosion, gunfire. More shots of Batman in the ring. The Batmobile. I don't like it. I don't like it. And yes, I'm partial to the 89 Batmobile. That's my favorite. But of course, every Batmobile has flames behind it. Oh, God, Zillionaire. That's why I love it when you come to my streams. I'm pretty sure I could throw a sparkle bat through a window without much effort. Yeah, don't worry. All you have to do is put him in sunlight and it'll disappear. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a Trans Am. I mean, they couldn't design their own Batmobile. There's Batman all dirty. What have you been up to, Batman? And there's a Gotham News report through live streams. More Selena Kyle. Batman, bruised, scarred. Gets into a lot of fights. Some fire, some more explosions. Andy Serkis' Alfred. More of the Batmobile. Not really impressed. How do I know it's a Batmobile? There it is. It's just not intimidating. What I liked about the 89 Batmobile was not only was it cool looking, but it was intimidating looking. It's like, imagine driving out on the road and you see that in your rear view mirror. You're thinking to yourself, "Oh shit, what the hell?" All right, Godzillionaire, thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it, brother. You're always welcome here. And anytime you want to come on a live stream, just let me know. You're more than welcome. Yeah, Batman being Batman. And there we see the title for it, The Batman. And it's coming out March 4th, 2022, only in theaters. Well, that's okay. I probably won't go see it anyway. I will go see it until I read any reviews, and even then, I probably won't trust any of the reviews. So, we've taken a look at the Batman trailer. We've taken a look at the Flash trailer. We've talked about Superman. We've talked about Batwoman. Let's see. What else should we talk about before I leave you tonight? And we've also talked about Hawkeye. Oh, this was another thing I wanted to talk about. Copying link. And I will be sharing it with all of you here shortly. Going back to another article from Bounding into Comics. Let me bring it up here on the screen. And there we go. So, this is from Bounding into Comics, as I said. And it says that Lucasfilm rumored to be developing a new Disney Plus Star Wars series about a Force-sensitive female bounty hunter. Okay, well, there was a bounty hunter who was a Jedi and did have Force powers, but, you know, I believe that was a male. All right. And this is by John F. Trent. And let's see, I just skipped over it because I was looking at the comic section. But it says a new rumor claims that Lucasfilm and Disney Plus are developing a series based on a force sensitive female bounty hunter. Okay, it says this new rumor comes from the hashtag shows Nick Santos. Santos claims the series will focus on a force sensitive bounty hunter who represses and hides her force abilities. He adds, however, when a target escapes and informs the Empire of her abilities, the Inquisitors are sent to track and destroy her. Sorry, got ahead of myself. Into the veracity of this rumor, Santos claims he saw concept art for the series. He described it as having much more visual diversity than The Mandalorian. Speaking specifically to the female bounty hunter, he described her outfit. The outfit this bounty hunter War was white with some red and black accents with a dome helmet. Okay, it goes on to say the description sounds like an early Boba Fett concept art, and the initial suit design they used in screen test. Santos went to speculate that the female bounty hunter could be the newly introduced clone Omega from the Bad Batch animated series, which would make sense if they wanted to continue Omega's story and bring it to a future timeline where she's a bounty hunter. Omega is able to free. Wait, hold on. The last episode of the Bad Batch saw the Galactic Empire wipe out all of the Canamon cloning facility. During the attack, Omega and Crosshair are trapped in the room that is flooding as the facilities sink into the surrounding sea. Omega is able to free Crosshair while the rest of the Bad Batch are able to open the blast door and allow them to escape the room. The episode then follows the team's journey throughout the facility as they attempt to find a way back to the surface. After escaping, the Bad Batch and Omega leave Crosshair on a transport platform. It's unclear where they fly off to. The series also never confirmed that Omega was force sensitive. Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they discover that Omega is force sensitive. And the article goes on to say maybe the oddest point of this rumor is that Santos claims that this new series will be a grittier and more intense show compared to The Mandalorian. He wrote, The Mandalorian was toned down for kids, and while the series won't be age restricted, it will certainly be more geared toward teens and adults. It's really odd that you would speculate that a character from an animated show would then jump to a grittier live action series. Not necessarily, depending on what they do with Ahsoka, that could end up being gritty too. As for force sensitive bounty hunters, they are few and far between. There's an argument to be made that Asajj Ventress is a force sensitive bounty hunter, given she turned to bounty hunting after she fell out of favor with Count Dooku. However, she was a clearly trained Sith assassin before she became a bounty hunter. Other force sensitive bounty hunters include the former Jedi Cade Skywalker, are seeing. Excuse me, I'm gonna get another drink of water here. I'll go ahead and take off that message. Looking at it, it says another argument could be made for Darth Cognus, aka the Huntress. She is hired to hunt down a man in black by Princess Sarah and bring him back alive. The Huntress balks, saying, I'm not a bounty hunter. However, she does take the job. Goes on to say there were also force sensitive Mandalorians. The most famous is probably Ter Vizsla, a Mandalorian inducted into the Jedi Order as a child who attained the rank of Jedi Knight. He went on to create the Darksaber, united Mandalore, and became its leader. But again, we haven't really seen a prominent force sensitive bounty hunter that wasn't previously a member of the Jedi Order or a Sith assassin. So, what's your take on it? Do you think this is just a rumor and nothing will become of it, or do you think we're gonna actually get Mandalorian like series geared for adults that will be darker, grittier, and will get a force sensitive female bounty hunter? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just taking this as rumor right now. I don't believe there's any actual fact to it. Again, it's just rumors and speculation, nothing more, nothing less. So, On that note, I am going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of Pacific414 Pop Talk. I want to thank Godzillionaire for stopping by. I want to thank Jake D for stopping by. I want to thank Spock for stopping by. Let's see, am I missing anyone else? Yes, I believe Games, Comics, and Castlevania also stopped by. Yes. Games, movies, and Castlevania did stop by. So thank you, good sir, for stopping by. Really appreciate it. And I want to thank you all for watching tonight's episode of Pop Talk. Again, I really appreciate it. If you like what you saw here, please give this video a thumbs up. If you didn't like what you saw here, give it a thumbs down. Leave a comment down in the comment section below. Share this video with your friends and subscribe to the Pacific414 YouTube channel. I will go ahead and put up the links here shortly. And again, just so you know, you're watching Pacific414 Pop Talk. I'm trying to do this twice a week to talk about the latest news in Hollywood and entertainment. So, hope you like what you saw. Let me go ahead and bring up the links. Come on. Come on. Don't be shy. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Pacific414. You can also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Pacific414. You can find me on Instagram at Instagram.com/Pacific_414. And you can find a link for my Discord. And come chat with me on my Discord server. But if you like what you saw here, then please subscribe to the Pacific414 YouTube channel. I talk about pop culture. I talk about episodes of TV shows like Chucky. And I talk about movies, which I will be doing tomorrow night in a live reaction review of 2021's Dune. So I hope you're all ready and willing to stop by at around 9:40. If it doesn't start at 9:40, it could be 10 o'clock, depending on when the movie gets out and I get home. So until then, this has been Mike for Pacific414 Pop Talk. Thank you all very much for stopping by. Appreciate it. Take care and have a good rest of your evening, good rest of your day, good rest of your morning, depending on where you are. And I am